We're live. Got it.
Got it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Watty. This is 4,000 and counting. And today, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Strange, co-owner of the Solway Sharks. He stopped in on his worldwide media tour to give the 4,000 and counting boys a little bit of time. So, John, I appreciate it.
Not at all, mate. Absolute pleasure. Been waiting for this one.
Mate, well, he was a busy boy, and obviously we had peaks on.
Yeah.
We've had pretty much all of you boys on. We had Grubby, we've had Tomo, Ross.
Tonight,
yeah, we had Ross Murray on. What's it like for you as an owner when you got a boy like Ross on your team? Because what a fucking beauty that kid is.
So, aye.
how much rope do you give him?
Okay, he can have as much rope as he likes. The guy's an absolute gem. So, he's full of fun, but there is a serious side to the big man as well. You know, he cares a lot about the kids and about the juniors and the teaching and stuff like that. Although he's bonkers on the other side, he's brilliant with everyone. He's I hate to use the word ambassador, but you could probably say he's an ambassador for the club, to be fair.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I know from speaking to him on here and just speaking to him in person, his relationship with the under-16s and what he was going through there. Obviously, they were within an inch of winning the title themselves, the Sharks last year. And when he was on here, he was banging on about the kids, the under-16s. Well, they're going to be up for the title and everything. And he was more pumped about them, I think, than he was about that. Right, guys, just a quick caveat. I'm talking to someone Scottish. My Scottish accent today might be a little bit more than normal. Suck it up. Don't act me. Like, I'm sorry, it is what it is. Right. If you hear me talking to my mum and dad, you would never know that that's what I sounded like normally. But yeah, that's just a quick caveat. Obviously, you've got guys like Ross there, and we had Mason on last week, and Mason talked about wanting to give back, wanting to get out there with the juniors. That must be music to your ears, right?
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. And it's not just him. To be honest with you, it's most of them. All of them are wanting to give up as much of their spare time as possible to get on the ice with the young team. Although technically the young team are going to end up taking their jobs at one point.
Yeah. Well, if they're coached right, absolutely, no reason why not.
Well, you know they will be with Grubby.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's one thing Solway Dumfries. However, looking back to Barry McKenzie, he was a junior there. Now he's come full circle. Obviously, when Barry had left Dumfries, he moved over to Florida, and I got to be his line mate. We went to IMG Academy together, and they've been producing players since then, and more noticeably so ever in the last decade.
Totally, mate. It's been nothing short of phenomenal what they produce, considering Dumfries itself's relatively small town in Scotland. That ice bowl is just packed 24/7. It's crazy trying to get some time on it, never mind anything else,
Well, as we well know, we'll get into that a little later, but just popped into my head, don't know why. Are you trying to tap into maybe the Carlisle market or anything like that in terms of A, fans, because it's not that far, B, players? Because we spoke about this on the podcast before, and every time we get hey, you can ask us anything, someone's like, what do we do to get better ice hockey? And I was like, well, we need to build ice rinks down in Devon, Dorset, up in the sticks up north. There's loads of untapped land in the UK. Carlisle's kind of a little bit like that. There's no ice rink there, but it's a fairly big town. It's not too far away. Is that maybe some untapped potential, try to get them into the ice hockey market?
100%. I mean, I'll answer that in two ways. Firstly, from a business perspective, to grow the fan base and to grow the business, Carlisle is a massive area that we want to try and tap into. I think Carlisle United football gets something like 14,000 fans.
Wow.
I think when I looked at it. So as far as expanding the Solway Sharks reach into Carlisle, it's only 25 minutes or so whatever it is down the road. So we're definitely going to, when we have 2 minutes, we're going to try and get down there. And maybe find some people that want to try ice hockey for the first time, but because there's nothing in Carlisle, they've never done it, and they maybe don't know that they can get up to Dumfries Ice Bowl within X amount of time and get on the ice and be trained and taught by one of the best in the business. So, we're going to do both ends.
I love to hear that, because it's something I'm passionate about is the next kind of generation. It's all, I started coaching the junior club in Basingstoke. I think my first gig coaching was when I was about 14, 15. I'd already been playing with the Bison at that point. Was coaching hockey basics, like as an assistant at like 15. And then by the time I was like 16, I had it full time. It was my gig. Yeah. So everyone was coming in, and then I just continued to go on with the 19s and Southwest and whoever it was. Always wanted to give back, started my own camps. That's because the next generation was always like the one. So for me, that generation was your Masons and kids like that. And before that, it was Sammy Duggans, and before that, it was Zach Sullivan's. And they were the kids that were coming through. But now you can see that pathway, because you can go, look, Zach Sullivan was there, now he's here. Sam Duggan was there, now he's here. And I think if we can get new people involved in the sport, that's how we're going to grow.
100%. We were when we were filming the mascot video the other week there. It was good, wasn't it?
It's good.
The juniors were chomping at the bit to get on, and we were obviously trying to get it done and make it look good and stuff like that, and the magic of it all and whatnot. But to then turn around and see, I don't know, there must have been about 40 of these wee tiny tots just bombing it on the ice and getting ready to do a bit of training. It's brilliant to see, and they are the next generation. Yeah. And we can, I think when I first met Martin to chat about coming on board, one of the things he said was the development at Solway is so good, but they get to a certain level with us, then they have to go elsewhere.
Well, so they have to go.
The plan was, if we can go up that level to the national, classed as the second tier of British hockey by a lot, then we can keep them longer.
Absolutely.
Now, don't get me wrong, you always want, if you're going to coach anybody in anything, you always want them to go to the best of their natural ability. And if that's beyond Solway elsewhere, fair play, so be it. But if we can keep them as long as possible, because we've got a good programme, a good setup, and we're in a competitive league, then why not? Why not?
And not just for Solway. I mean, there's kids in Fife, Dundee. I mean, I know this is a first year thing, but next year when it comes to recruiting, the year after when it comes to recruiting, there's kids there that are not ready for the Elite League, but are too good. They're playing in that Scott one, pulling its pants down. They need that next test. And the next test is the national. And the fact that you can now do that in Scotland, obviously me being a Scot and totally biased, and totally biased, I'm all for that. But I mean, that's why we pushed it. We pushed it at the start before this was a thing.
No, you didn't.
And we were floating it out there right away from last season, really. And then I'm in an hour in, is it going to happen? It was sounding like it's going to happen. And then it wasn't. And then they were like, nah. And then we heard you guys are coming in, and it was going to happen. Because even Barry's ringing me. What do you know? I was like, fuck knows. I don't know. If you tell me something.
That doesn't sound like Barry at all. No.
I was like, you're up the road. You tell me something. Like, I'm all the way down there. And then to get the call that you boys you were in, that's the happiest I've been since the National League started, I think.
Cool. Glad to hear it, mate.
I'm just disappointed that Basingstoke, obviously my hometown team, bombed out the league in the same season. It was because 12 teams would have been brand new. It would have been perfect.
Well, hopefully next year.
Well, they better start working on the rink then, bud. Nothing's been done yet. Well, honestly, nothing's been done yet. I was in there. There was a charity game. Shout out to the Basingstoke Buccaneers rec team, by the way. I think they're just shy of £5,000 from the charity game they had there a couple of weeks back, which is amazing. But nothing's been done with the rink, so I hold with bated breath that they'll be back for 24-25 unless they get to work. So how much of a part of it were you in the early stages? Obviously we did those videos that started to get talked about. When did you seriously think, you know what, this could be cool, this could be a cool proposition, let's go to Grubby, let's talk to him, and let's lay our business plan on the table?
So it was Grubby that reached out to us through Peaks, believe it
Perfect.
or not. So I was at a gig at the Hydro, and Peaks, surprise, surprise, and Peaks is texting me saying, "Have you got 5 minutes?" And I was like, "I am. I'm
No.
at a gig. I'm at a gig." And he went, "I'll phone you tomorrow." And I'm one of those impatient people. I was like, "No, sack phoning me tomorrow. Phone me now. Tell me what it is." So the support act finished down outside, phoned him, and he said, "Look, Martin Grubb for the Solway Sharks is looking for your number. Is that okay?" I was like, aye, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah. I phoned Martin the following day, and you know what it's like. Instantly, I was like, this guy sounds,
He's a good guy.
sounds good. And then spoke to Phil, who was the other guy that was trying to buy the clan with me, and we went down to meet. We met with Martin, JT, and Caroline for the council down there. Tour of the rink, tour of the facilities, and then listened to their ambitions. And then it was instantly, mate. Instantly, we were like, "Yes, this is 100% something we can grab a hold of."
And he's like, "Look, I've prepared more." You're like, "No, I'm all right. I don't need to see all that. The fucking 2-hour presentation.
Like, we're
done." Yeah,
it's fine. Forget about it. We're in. Let's
Robbie's got like, look at this PowerPoint I've made. Like, put the hard work into it, but it was that straightforward.
We then had to get into the hard work, which was the due diligence on both parts. We had to meet the existing board a couple of times. We had to get them to say it was okay. And then we had to sit on a couple of meetings with the rest of the owners.
How was that?
That was fun, as you can imagine. So they proper grilled the arse off us. But hey, it is what it is. You know,
what sort of questions are they asking, John? Do they want to know about your money, where you got it? Do they want to know about your ambitions?
The usual things, mate. Money, are you going to throw too much money at it? What are your intentions? What are your long-term plans? I think, you know, credit where it's due. As a collective, they were wanting to make sure that if they said yes, that we weren't going to be a one and done. You know, that
I don't want that either.
Long-term, and that we wanted to buy into the vision of the National, which was to continue to improve it year on year on year on year. And of course, we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't want to do that. So they made the decision, and then that was us. And then, geez, oh man, it's been mental, like chaos ever since. But it's been fun. I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it.
I'm going to hit the rewind button. Your name first came on my radar with the Glasgow Clan bid.
Yeah.
Talk us through. I know you're a sponsor anyway, but talk us through going through last year, making the bid and everything that went along with it at the same time as them signing rapists and not doing anything about it, and having probably, obviously, if I was to pick an elite league team, being from down in Irvine, Glasgow is going to be that team, so I'll keep an eye on them. The way that whole situation was handled was ugly. Sponsors were dropping out left, right, and centre. Talk us try to buy a club while all this is going on in the background, and how you dealt with all of that.
Oh, how long have you got? It was hard, mate. I'm not going to lie. So, very long story short, there was always rumours that the club might be for sale at some point, and I always had it in the back of my mind that I'd quite fancied giving it a shout. But then that got accelerated like a million miles an hour when that fateful evening, I'm at a property awards dinner, and I'm handing out little brochures and little Clangus teddies and invites to the ice hockey and all that kind of jazz to try and promote the business and whatnot. And then my phone just went nuts with the amount of people going, "What the is going on here with this signing?" And then within 48 hours, chatting to Neil Black, the owner at the time, saying, "Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What this is horrendous." And listen, I'm going to go on record and saying it. I've been holding it back for quite some time now.
This is the place to do it, baby.
The guy, I don't want to sound unprofessional, but I've got no time for the guy at all whatsoever. He's a clown. He's an absolute clown. He treated us like shit on his shoe for months and months and months, and left us high and dry at the end of it.
Was that, you say you treated that piece of shit on your shoe? Was that in business terms, or just being unprofessional, perhaps? Or
everything, mate. I mean,
he knew he had the fucking power card, so.
So as a sponsor, I was left with, when they put the picture of this signing, guilty or not, whatever, if they put a picture of this signing on BBC News, you saw his face, the word rape, and then my business logo. You didn't see the Glasgow Clan logo because it was below my business logo. And I'm like, come on, I can't have that. So myself and the rest of the sponsors, I called a Zoom meeting for us all. We all got together and I said, look, I'm pulling my sponsorship unless something's done about this. So we gave them a stay of execution. They reversed the signing, if you like, and then I think Gareth and Malcolm were suspended, and then they were brought back in, and then it was very much, here's a carpet, shove it under. And I was like, no, I'm not having that. And then he said, I tell you what, how about we explore selling the club? Which now is a clever move by him because we all reinstated our sponsorship at that point in time.
Genius.
Genius.
He's not, hey, he's a dick, but he's not fucking stupid. He's not stupid, yeah.
Not as daft as he looks. Listen, fair play to the guy to an extent for what he did, bringing hockey to Glasgow and all that kind of stuff. And we tried our hardest to buy that club from him. We made offer after offer after offer. We made every single demand that he put on us. And he was the most obstructive, obtuse man I've ever had the displeasure of dealing with, if I'm honest with you. So it fell through. It is what it is. I was devastated. I was upset. I was angry. I was raging. I was going to kill him. You know, I remember
get right into him.
I remember walking into the playoff weekend in Nottingham, and one of the guys that works for the Clan came up and stood in front of me, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Just wait there, now. Neil Black's about to get into the lift," and I was like, "All right, okay, fair enough."
Just go and stick the heat on him.
Look, it is what it is. I'll bump into him at some point in the future. I've got no time for the man, and I'm happy to tell him that to his face. You don't mess about with a club and an organisation like that the way he did and get away with it, in my opinion. So every dog has his day, etc., etc. He'll get that. So
obviously, just one more thing. So obviously, you've said you've met his criteria. You've met his criteria. You've went X, Y, Z. Here you go, and you've met that criteria. Why not sell to you then? What was his hang up?
Hang up, not prestigious enough.
What?
But not prestigious enough. TDL Media and Nick O'Rourke. I know. So selling to a bigger...
selling to a company that's just announced drastic losses, and they've just sacked off half the fucking channels that they have. And
to be fair, the guy that owns TDL Media sold his share in Premier Sports to Viaplay, so he doesn't actually have anything to do. That was the whole thing. It was confusing everybody.
Right. Okay.
He doesn't actually have anything to do with, to my knowledge, doesn't have anything to do with Viaplay. So he was always in the picture, but that's the thing. He didn't realise we were in the picture when we, other than publicly, and then we didn't realise he was fully in the picture. We knew there was another bidder there. We knew it was down to. I was in Tuscany with my wife on a holiday, and it was lovely, on a tram on a Zoom call with Phil and Neil Black trying to do the deal, and that it was left at that point in time that it was down to us and one other, and he said, "I'll make a decision on Monday." Fine. Guess what? Come Monday, no contact. A full week later, no contact.
What?
Aye, and we
by that point, he's probably made his decision and told them. He's told them that, hey, I'm going to sell the club to you. But yeah, not reach back out to you guys, and it had the common courtesy just to go, yo.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? See, to be honest with you, mate, I'm not here to talk about him.
No, absolutely. But it's all part of your story, though, because
that's not true.
Because if you buy that, chances are you're not sitting in the Solway Sharks hot seat right now.
You're probably right. You're probably right, and that was a concern and a worry that the Sharks fans and the public and the community might not take to us because we were in for the Clan. But quite the opposite has happened. I think when you meet
great
us,
fan base,
brilliant fan base. When you meet us, certainly when you meet us down there, you can see myself, Phil, and David McCarroll, who we brought on as well. David, big shout out to him during the whole shit show of what was happening with the Clan. He kept Phil and I on the straight and narrow. It was like our sort of mental health nurse. just your confidant. He's there telling you when to go. He just, kept the two of us from going off the rails. So it seemed like the obvious thing to do when Solway presented itself to say to David, look, do you want to get involved in this as well, mate? And I'm glad we did, because he's been nothing short of remarkable in everything he's done with us so far, so if he's watching, which he bloody better be, then
he better be.
In fact, he's just messaged me there. I hope I'm not saying something.
Oh, guys, by the way, I forgot to say at the start, if you've got any questions, not that I know how to work YouTube chat, but if I can figure it out on my phone, then ask away and I'll relay them. But yeah, so obviously that's why I wanted to get into the clan. We're done with that now, but that's led you to this.
Sorry, I interrupted you. He's actually messaging saying, "Do you know this isn't live on YouTube?" Apparently, just that's what he's saying.
So. Well, according to us, we are live on YouTube. It's saying right here.
Cool. So that's maybe him taking the mickey then and being a.
Well, let's find out. If not, we can post it after. But according to this on here, that we're live on YouTube. But hey, if it's not, it's not, and we can
It's not, mate. It's not. I've just went on. It's not live.
According to this, we are live on YouTube. Yeah, hosted live on. No idea why that's not worked. Well, hey ho.
Hey ho, never mind.
We'll put it out afterwards. So anyway, like I say, we're going back to the clan, and you've moved on. You're now with Solway. The next decision you had to make was who you're going to bring in as general manager, and you went with Craig Peacock, which is a very, very fine choice in my opinion. How did Peaks get on your list, and how did he end up being the top guy on that list?
So Peaks and I got to know each other quite well through the clan, obviously, and I always knew he was coming to the end of his career. And at the time, I had a plan, or rather Phil and I had a plan, that Peaks would join us if we got the clan in some capacity. Obviously, the clan had their existing staff and team and GM and all that kind of stuff. But we wanted him involved with us because he's a legend, isn't he, really? And,
yeah.
And that's 20 quid he owes me for saying that.
Yes, there's a cheeky score right there.
So I met up with Craig in a number of times during the seasons when it was all kicking off. And I mean, you've got to remember, during that disaster at the clan, the players were going through this as well, mate. The players were short-benched massively at times. Craig's throwing himself, or they were all throwing themselves in front of far too many pucks during the game in order to just try and keep the score down. Yeah. So I always wanted him part of it. And the minute it was a thing, I got him and I said, look, I know you were looking for a job at the clan, you're wanting to get a job at the clan. However, here's a wee opportunity for you. Why don't you join the train? Why don't you come with us and be our GM and learn the ropes, same as we're going to learn the ropes as a ownership. We'll do it together as a partnership, if you like, and he thought about it, and he spoke to his now wife, then fiance, half, and he spoke to his mum and dad, and they were like, this just, I don't know, mate, it's that cheesy thing of
it just fell into place.
It just felt right for us all to do it. And then he was in, and the minute he was in, it was like, right, let's get straight to work. Let's get it done. Let's get you a wee cheeky video, Peaksy.
Yeah. How cool has it been, the fact that we'll get into the videos as well? We're talking about it now. How cool is it, the fact that all the boys have bought in? Everybody's wanting to be a part of it. They're cool. They're taking over social media in the National League, raised the bar so high that now not only the league got to keep up, you've got to keep up. Because now there's a standard, there's a precedent that's been set, and we come to expect, like, when you guys put something out, it's going to be good. Right, you love all that shit on the sidelines.
Love it. That's
I love it. It's great.
My background's film and TV media anyway. My wife's in that game as well. So David owns a creative company. Phil owned a lift company, so I suppose that's got nothing to do with media, but no, we all bought into the. Do you know what, mate? See, if we're going to do it, we might as well just do it as best as we can, and just raise the John Dunn bar every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bringing guys like him in will help. We'll get into some of the players in a little while. We're going to go into from GM to coaching, and obviously you got the boys there. You got Grubber, you got JT there. You don't have to mess around when you've got those boys already leading the ship. So I take it that was a pretty short, easy conversation.
Easy. I mean, there was no. We had to do the official, Hi Martin, do you wish to continue as head coach of everything inside this?
Yeah, the whole entire shit.
and JT as well. You know, we had to say to him, look, you know, officially, you and both of them were like, yep. I'm in, done, no question. And Martin, as you know, well, both of them, they're friends now. Within a short period of time, they've become some of my closest friends. Trust them implicitly. I love everything they do. Just you walk into that place and it's like a warm blanket around you in a nice boat, which is a bit of a strange thing to say, but you know, the atmosphere, the community, the friendship that is in that place is infectious, as is their personalities as well. So no question, we were not going to come in and suddenly get rid of Martin and Jamie and bring in somebody else. No, it was never up for debate.
Man, obviously those boys have been there through the thick and thin. They've took them to multiple titles in that league below. Obviously the fans that have been turning up, around about 700 according to Grubby and JT when we spoke to them last. How do you make sure that ice bowl's really, really full? Like getting that 9,000?
So that's been the tough thing, if I'm honest with you. Dumfries is very much a turn up on the night type town.
Yeah.
And we're trying to change that mentality, and that's going to be a slow burner, you know. So we've got online ticketing now, online season tickets, online merch, online jerseys, everything. And quite a lot of fans have bought into that, but quite a lot of them haven't. You know, we've even made it cheaper to buy in advance online than it is to come up and pay in on the door. You know, you're going to save £2 a head by buying.
That's good.
So we're trying to change that mentality and get them out there early, get the tickets bought early. You know, shout out to the Leeds Knights fans. They've all but sold out the away section that we gave them, like 40, 50 odd for a pre-season game. You know,
that's awesome.
Steel Dogs are not far behind them, but you know, if any of them are listening, get those tickets bought. But our home fans as well, you know, get online and get the tickets, because then it gives us an idea. Let's look at this as a business, mate. We need to think, how many people are we going to get in there? So we need to cater for them. We need to make sure there's enough alcohol, soft drinks, you know, crisps, sweets, hot dogs, whatever it may be, merch, 50-50s, chuck-a-pucks, etc. And if we don't know how many people are coming through the door, that's hard to plan for. So if we can get people to be buying their tickets in advance, which a lot have done, but we don't want an influx of people just turning up on the night. We'll take them, but
of course,
let's get those tickets bought in advance. It makes our life a wee bit easier to plan, you know. But we're going to be getting into schools, to answer your question. Actually, we're going to be getting into schools as of next week, because that's them back. Our wonderful mascot Finn will be hopefully visiting some of the schools and telling all the kids that are there Saturday night, this is the place to be. Get yourself along there. You're going to have an absolute riot of a time, and you can see some ice hockey.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I mean, I remember that was one of my first ones that I really knew I made it when I was like 16, 17 playing for the Bison, and I had to be one of the guys to go do the school visits, and we used to do them myself. A couple of imports, we'd take a bag of gear down, we'd take some sticks down, some pucks. Bud the Bison would be there, like you say, you get the mascot there, and you just go, you visit these kids. And funnily enough, it's weird now, this time later, I still get like a tap on the shoulder when I'm at a Bison game. There was this couple of kids, one was 4 or 5, they would have been 6, and their brother would have been 10. They tap me on the shoulder now. They're still at Bison games. Like, that's 20 odd year ago. Then obviously adults are there with their kids and stuff now. It's fucking wild. But that's what that is. And we had players start playing in the junior program through school programs and stuff like that. Because that's the other thing. You get them in the door for a Sharks game at the weekend. They learn about the learn to play. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of weeks later, they've convinced their mum and dad that, hey, I want to have a shot at that. Mm-hmm. Let me have a go. And that builds back into the junior program, which again will then build back into the club. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It's a win-win. You know, that's the plan, mate, is get them in, get them through the door, get them enjoying themselves. You know, obviously the league that the Sharks are getting into, I imagine, should be much more competitive, much more
miles more
than one they've been in. So that's going to give the existing stalwart fans a different experience. You know, they're certainly not going to be 8-0 up by the end of the first period, I don't think. No. But for new folk coming along as well, the type of hockey, the style of hockey, and the the sort of the show that we want to bring as well, and the things that we're trying to do is going to attract the youngsters in, and Dumfries Expo itself, it's not just, the hockey that's there. They've got figure skating, there's the curlers next door as well. There's the synchronized figure skating, there's the skating club, there's the ladies, there's the juniors. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are on the ice. So getting kids from a school who maybe didn't realise there was an ice rink there in the first place is our sort of ambition, if you like. Just get them in there, get them in the door and have them love it.
Do you plan to have, I mean, you probably do from listening to what you say, but plan to have a relationship between yourselves and the figure skaters, or yourself and the ladies, and, like make it a big one club kind of feel? Because that's always the vibe that I've had from Solway. It is that one in all in kind of vibe.
Aye. Yes, is the answer. We've met up with most of them. Had a good chat with most of the clubs. I was talking to the guy Philip from the figure skating club the other night there. Mo from the ladies, met her a few times as well. Brilliant. It's one club, one vision, which is get the place packed out, no matter what's on in there, no matter what it is.
That's great, and that's good to hear for the National League. And how do you think those Sharks fans will travel? Do you think you'll get many of them coming down to games down this way, or do you think they'll bypass it? Or
I think we will. I think we already have a minibus, certainly. I think it's 15 or 16 already gone down for the Leeds pre-season game.
Good
already. But I think there is a nucleus of fans that do travel and will continue to travel. Granted, there's more of it to do, more games, further distances, but this is hockey, mate. Hockey in the UK, number one on everyone's list is always going to be travel.
Yeah,
you're going to have to do that. No, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah, you got to do the miles and the buses and the shitty sandwiches at service stations and everything in between. But that allows you to then go and watch what last year was an extremely competitive National League.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This year, whew, I think the competitiveness is going up a notch.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. From what I can see, from what I can tell, the research I've done, the videos I've watched, because I'm still relatively new to the National League, in comparison to the likes of yourself, it looks like it's going to be, pick a winner.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What constitutes a success for you this year? Because Milton Keynes, they look lights out. They've got fucking 87 first line forwards. I don't know how they're gonna juggle that, and some of the boys ain't gonna get PP time. And then you look at Leeds, they still look strong. Swindon looks strong. They lost Reece Kelly. If who they bring in is who I think they're going to bring in, they've not lost anything, so they're still going to be strong. Where do you see yourselves? Because I think your outfit's good. A couple of bits to be announced there, and I think the fans will be happy when that gets announced. And there's pressure. There's pressure because you're coming in. There's pressure there.
So we've come in and kind of given the impression that we're going to be up there. I think realistic expectations, I said this on a podcast the other day, realistic expectations is 100% to make the playoffs.
Yep.
But we want to do more than that. We want to be more competitive than just making the playoffs. I'd like us to be up there challenging year one. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because, people can look back on these videos and go, Strange came on and said they were going to win it all, and look at them, they finished bottom.
That's all right, mate. I've been doing predictions on this show for 4 years. I don't get many right.
So let's make the playoffs. Let's have a wee run in the cup. Let's see how it goes. I keep saying to Martin and Peaks all the time, tell me we're going to be good.
Please.
Looks good on paper when you see the returning players and then the ones we've added. I mean, it looks pretty good. I have faith in Martin. I was down Tuesday, got a GB under 20 camp on in there, and I witnessed my first Martin Grubb team talk, if you like.
Right.
I was ready. I
Yeah,
was
pumped.
ready to get
Yeah.
there. I was like, yes, yes. Although I can't skate or play hockey, I was ready, having listened to him give a snap, you know. So
Let's get into some of those boys that you brought in. Liam Stenton coming back from the Clan. How important is someone like that young man? Because he's a hell of a talent.
Liam's a hell of a talent. He's also a hell of a person as well. He is such a nice guy, and he cares. You know, he's a bit like Barry Mack. Or Barry Mick. He's a hometown hero. You know, his mum and dad are entrenched in the club. His dad's a kitman. His
Yep.
mum helps out, and well, she won't mind me saying this. She practically runs the place.
Runs the show, yeah.
Runs the show.
Keeps the wheels on the bus, yeah.
He's just. I think. All right, it was a difficult decision for him to come away from the Clan and come to us, and I get that, and I respect the difficultness of that decision. But you imagine you're Liam Stenton and you grew up, you know, you were taught to skate by Martin. You grew up in that area. Your mum and dad are in that club, and that club is going to the national for the first time with the weight of the new ownership and the entire town behind them. Yeah, you'd be crazy to not want to be involved in that. So I respect Liam taking the decision to come and work with us and play for us, and I thank him for it, obviously, as well. But he's a team player, mate. You know, he's all about the team, and you can't beat that, you know.
Talking about hometown heroes and Barry McKenzie going back there. What's it like having the old man McKenzie back? He's 700 and something games in the Elite League. You don't do that by accident.
No, you can tell he's played that many games.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. It was his birthday, I think, yesterday or the day before. 37 now.
That's it, right? He's a month. He's pretty much exactly a month younger than me.
Right, okay. He's good fun as well. He's a troublemaker, but he's through and through. But he cares. He cares. He cares about the club. He cares about it. You cannot buy that type of enthusiasm from a professional sports person if they actually genuinely care about the club that they're playing for, and he's one of the ones that cares.
Obviously, we touched on Mason just briefly going out with the juniors, but talent-wise, Mason is lights out. I think, for me, in the entire league next year, he's a player to watch.
So heard lots of good things. I spoke to Mason when we were doing the
nasty.
I spoke to Mason a couple of times, and I just loved his energy, man. He's too cool for school, you know.
Oh, he's really too cool for school.
But not one person have I spoke to that hasn't said, you know, if he's back to full fitness, watch out. Just watch out. And he's a beast, he's a big lad, you know. So I'm really looking forward to it. And he's buzzing for it. He is. He's buzzing for it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays and who he plays alongside, you know.
Well, if I'm Grubby, and I'm sure Grubby already knows this, he doesn't need me telling him, you're sticking him on the line with John Dunbar. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Because he's young, he's big, and he wants to learn. Who better to learn from than the slightly older, slightly shorter?
Much shorter. Yeah. Much shorter. I got the pleasure of watching Dunbar play when he was in Guildford, obviously closest elite league team for me. I could run down there in 35 minutes or whatever, check out a couple of games. He was good, man. Good leader as well. Has those leadership qualities as well as his capabilities on the ice. How important is it attracting somebody like that in your first season? Because there is 10 other teams in the National League that take that signing.
How important is it? It was hugely important that players like that want to commit to the Sharks. And John being hopefully the first of many as the years go on. And we know we were desperate to get, well, not desperate, but, you know, he won't like me saying that. We wanted him. We wanted him badly. When we knew that there was a chance, we needed to make it work for him. And John's another one of those guys, just so professional, to a fault professional, and likes the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and is a good guy. And he talks a good game, and he cares about other players as well. He's already talking about how to help the youngsters deal with the extra travel. And I mean, let's not forget, he was Guildford, so that was a Guildford to
The longest trip everywhere.
Guildford to Dundee.
Yeah.
That's a trip. You know,
Yeah.
any of these National League players or teams that are moaning about going from, you know, Bristol to Dumfries, try Guildford to Fife, and then tell me how far it is. He takes it on his stride, mate. John's the man. He's brilliant. He's brilliant, and what a player as well.
Oh, what a player!
He will score for fun. Hopefully.
Well, I think he will. Obviously, you've announced two other boys as well. D-Man, Oliver. I'm gonna fucking butcher his name.
Arsenal.
There you go. I wouldn't have been far away. And Nolan Gardner.
Yeah.
So you've gone the three North Americans. I like that personally.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Love playing with all the Euros that I play with some of the best guys on the planet. But I like the North American style of hockey.
Yeah.
Do you think the fans will buy into that, and the North American style of hockey fits in very well in the UK? I think the fans will be happy.
I think so. Those two guys seem like lovely guys. I've spoke to them briefly, but it was Martin Peaks and JT that put those deals together. They sorted that out. These young guys, I think they've got a point to prove as well. So they're looking to come here, and they know each other as well, which is key. They've played together, so they're traveling together and all that kind of stuff. So
that's nice. That's huge when you're going out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I was going to Florida, I kind of knew Barry. We battled against each other at conference, maybe mixed in like a hockey school at Air Centrum together or something when we were 13, 14. But I had someone that I knew. I wasn't going totally blind on my own by myself. Having that, just someone you can fall back on, is huge. And the fact these boys have got that, they're coming from U Sports, which is good hockey. And I think that U Sports have proved that they can produce elite league talent. So there's no reason why these boys won't pan out in the National League.
Well, listen, see when you've got Martin and JT and Peaks telling you, bringing a laptop over to you and going, look at this, check this guy out, that you're getting some good talent through the door. And I trust Martin, trust his judgment. You're not a national coach as well as a club coach for nothing. So he knows, he can see the potential in people. And these two U Sports guys, we're looking forward to getting them over and showing them a bit of Scotland, and hopefully they'll stay for a while.
We speculated on how you guys would do this before it was even a thing. How would you make it work? And I'll be honest, I haven't really looked through the fixtures yet. It's way too far away from the season for me to be getting into it. But has it worked where you guys have got double headers, or is it every weekend home and away? How is it working for you fixtures wise?
I think we've got 3 double headers at home, 2 or 3 double headers away. Swindon, the Bees, I think.
The far ones.
Yeah, and then I think we've got maybe MK on a Saturday and Bristol on a Sunday, maybe, I think. But we were very much, listen, we're the new kids on the block, so don't take the piss, but we'll make it work. We just want to play. We just want to be involved. So, if we have to go to a earlier face-off time or a later face-off time to accommodate guys getting in from work or guys getting home in time to get to work, then we're here to play hockey. We're not here to debate face-off times. So let's make it work. And luckily, Dumfries Ice Bowl and Dumfries Council could not have been any more helpful when it comes to, and they've got a lot to plan in for their ice time, a hell of a lot to plan in, and they were brilliant about the fixtures changing a couple of times towards the end and then getting them nailed on. So we'll make it work, mate. Travel's travel. We'll make it work.
Speaking of travel, obviously that was another thing we speculated about. How do you guys travel? Are you going to travel in style? Are you coming down on the big bus? Are you going to be in minibuses? Or how are you going to work it?
Yeah, well, we've got about 4 or 5 shark copters that we're just going to bring in.
You just chopper right in there. Could you fucking imagine the uproar?
Yeah, but imagine
if you boys landed on the fucking roof of the Link Centre for your first away game. Steve now would have a shit fit.
Unfortunately, that's never going to happen. One can dream. We'll bus it to most of them. We will look at flying, or we've started looking at flying to.
Potentially could be better, right?
Bristol. You're very close. London City Airport is very close, and Heathrow to a couple of the clubs. So depending on the timings and stuff like that, we might fly them down budget allowing.
Yeah, just well, by the time you if you book plenty in advance, by the time you paid for a bus and the fuel and the 2 drivers and everything else, sometimes it's just as cheap just to jump on EasyJet, Ryanair, whoever it is, and that's you down there. The third, fourth thing I can't remember that we speculated about was fans coming up to you, and were you going to do any hotel deals? Were you going to be doing anything to kind of entice the fans in? And I see this week you've signed up with a hotel there. Local in the city. How was it getting that deal done, and how important is that? Is that going to provide like fans with a better opportunity, like a cheaper opportunity to come up and watch hockey on the road?
Yeah, so there's a number of hotels in Dumfries, and we've been speaking to a lot of them. But the Holiday Inn, part of the ISG group, they were the ones that were more in keeping with what we were trying to do. So they've put together a deal for the clubs to come and stay, and there's a deal there for the fans as well. I think there's a code that we give over, or an email address. You need to check that out with Craig, because it was him that done the deal. So
perfect.
He sorted that deal out, and yeah, they're a decent sized hotel chain, so they're used to dealing with that. We just had the UCI Cycling Championships up here, as you probably know, and they were completely booked out solid for the whole time, because they've got the space and the capabilities of dealing with it. So so it's a Holiday Inn in Dumfries, and they're also sponsoring us as well. They're on our jersey as well, which is good.
Well, speaking of sponsors, something I've actually reached out to you personally about, but Hercules, they've come on board and their stuff's legit. I see they've got Jordan County as one of their ambassadors. He's always in Instagram videos and stuff, and their logo's down on the ice. How important is it to have a company like that on board? And how important are you in their journey? Because they're only started in 2022. It's a big step for them to come in and sponsor a club such as yourselves, but really good exposure at the same time across the depth of the UK.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant exposure for them and for us. I think it kind of another one of those sort of fairy tale stories. It made sense. Relatively new organisation with a relatively new stage for the Sharks and their organisation. Let's go on that journey together. So they were to get a title sponsor in our inaugural season in the National League was good going. And that was David McCarroll that sorted that. He had been chatting to the guys on Instagram, I think, to begin with. And then it just grew from there. The relationship grew from there, and then they were keen, and they're building their brand. They're sponsoring quite a lot of things. They've got lots of ideas as to how they're going to grow their business from more than just, I believe, hockey apparel. They've got big plans to become a hockey company, if you like. They'll do lots of different things moving forward. I can't say too much because I don't know.
Don't throw them under the bus. Yeah.
But they're lovely people. Again, it's cheesy. They're lovely people. They're brilliant. When we were doing the Barry McKenzie Hercules video, which I think should be played on everyone's phone every night before a game, just so Barry dressed as Hercules. They're lovely people, and they're buying into what we're trying to do. So no, big decision for them to go title on year one, and I can't thank them enough for it. Brilliant.
What's it been like behind the scenes trying to approach? Obviously, we're talking about title sponsors, hotel sponsors. What's it been like trying to just attract sponsors in general? Are the businesses local in town seeming interested? The fact that you guys have stepped up, there's new ownership, new GM. It's all kind of it's essentially, even though you guys have been there for what seems like forever as the Sharks, this seems brand new. It feels brand new. It's got a new injection of fuel in it, and the pace seems like it's quickened up a little bit. The media's got more professional. Just the eyes on Solway as a whole have quadrupled, but even more than that.
I'm not going to lie, it's not been easy, and I'm sure every other owner in the league will tell you the same. Trying to convince businesses that maybe don't really know about ice hockey to sponsor an ice hockey team is a hard sell in a small town when you've got a long-standing football club next
Yeah.
door as well. I was chatting to their commercial director the other day there, and he was like, well, there's only ever one marketing budget in most companies, and he wants
Sponsored them.
football and we want it for the ice hockey, so we had a laugh and a giggle about that. We've had some really good businesses that have come on board, as you'll see when you're up in the rink. You'll see all their advertising, the ones that are on the jersey and whatnot as well. But there's still a lot out there that haven't engaged with us yet, but that takes time. That takes time. We need to start playing. We need to start getting them along to the games.
Yeah.
I became a sponsor in ice hockey because I went to an ice hockey game, not because I decided that a guy walked in and sold me sponsorship. I went and watched a game first. Then I thought, yes, I'll have some of that. So that's what we're going to have to do. So, any businesses out there? The phone?
Well, absolutely. And same if it's not Solway, you're down in Slough and you want to
no, just support.
No, but you know what I mean? Though, like we're seeing like the bees could be way more competitive if an extra sponsor that came on, or whoever it may be, someone that maybe didn't finish in the playoffs last year or the year before. A new sponsor chucking in 20-30 grand a year is the difference between you signing 3-4 plugs for your fourth line or 3 or 4 good players. That's the real difference. It's the difference between you better sign a guy out of the SPHL or a guy out the ECHL. It's different standards just by that extra money and without going back to the well of the fans every time.
Yeah, it's massive, mate. Sponsors are the life, and fans are the lifeblood of any club. So yeah, the bees. I think the bees do a great job. I've watched a couple of podcasts for Graham, the owner down there, and he even meets the fans at the door and shows them their seat and stuff like that. That's how invested he is in it. But he's also their title sponsor as well, so that's tough for him. I would think, and hats off to him for doing that. Obviously, we've got our own businesses up here as well and we've sponsored to an extent, but we always wanted to keep a wee sort of
separation a little bit.
Separation there, just so that other...
Because it would have been easy for you to just come in and go, right, whack the business on the front. That's the title sponsor, chuck an extra few grand in the pot and off we go. That would have been the easy route, but you've done it the smart way. You've kind of kept that to Hercules there. And by the way, your shirts are fucking money. Money. Oh, that's so good.
I've been picking him up all night, but that's David Vaccaro again.
That boy's on fire,
A sprinkle from me. He designed those shirts single-handedly.
Yeah, that's sick.
What a legend. I mean, they are awesome.
They look even better once they're in, like, do you know, like when all the boys are in them for match night. It's going to look even better than the concepts and anything else. It's going to be awesome.
100%, mate. 100%.
And I think the fans will buy them because they're cool jerseys. Like,
they've been buying them already. The replicas are on sale on the website already. So we've had orders coming in for them already, which is brilliant. That's
great. I'd love to see the Dumfries, the Ice Bowl there, just ram for the guys, girls wearing their shirts, coming to the games. Yeah. The buzz is real, and I think it's felt throughout the whole of National because other teams are talking about yous as well. Is that something that, obviously, interviews like this and getting the media and all that, is that something that's part of the plan, or is it something that's kind of happened just naturally?
Well, I think when we decided that we were in and we were welcomed with open arms, we thought we need to do this as big as possible, and as professional as possible, and make it as fun as possible. So, the professionalism that we've helped bring, the media attention, the design element to everything, the social media side of things, the marketing side of things. It's been hard. Don't get me wrong, mate. People think that they've come in and they've done this and done that and done this and done that. It's hard work. Yeah. It's hard going, coming up with ideas all the time that not only remain in keeping with the ethos of the club, but also are quite good fun to watch as well. I mean, I'd love to tell you some of the utterly dreadful ideas we had.
I bet there's been hundreds.
One of us is like, I'm going to say idea, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. And then the other guy comes sitting going, no.
Are you sure? Are you sure? No.
Yeah,
What was it like? What's it like getting some of the
Barry McKenzie from the ceiling?
yeah. What's it like getting some of the Shire boys involved with these videos? Because hey, not many of these hockey players, I tell you right now, want to be in front of that camera doing anything. I know it's maybe a bit different in this generation because hey, we all do the stories and the selfies and all the shit that goes along with that. But 10 years ago, if you were telling a guy, right, you've got to come down 4 weeks before the season, you got to come down and we're going to do this video. No, you're fucking not. But now they seem to buy in. What's it like getting the shy ones involved?
It's actually all right, to be fair, because Martin is their sort of adopted father, if you like. So he basically says to them, well, if you want to play with the big boys, you need to behave like a big boy. So you're doing the video. That's it. There's no choice.
He says jump, they say how high.
Pretty much.
Right.
And then you get the ones that like a bit of the attention, Ross.
just pure like L'Oreal advert.
Exactly. And Big Callum.
That was my favourite.
Oh, what a ledge he was that day. He came in from work and just went, right, what am I doing? And that was it. Brilliant video, brilliant concept.
Brilliant video.
Done really well. Thank you to Queen of the South for letting us use that. Man, they just put the 4G pitch down the day before. Nobody had been on it yet, and we were like, let's not ruin this, But no, that was good. Good fun to do as well.
What's it been like communicating with Queen of the South and other teams in and around Scottish football? Because ultimately that is going to be not only your competition as such, but could be the best thing from sliced bread for hockey if it's done right.
Mate, it's another one of those slow burners. We'll need to take some time. I've had a couple of meetings with the commercial guy from the Queens, Phil, the other owner. He's met up with the owner, the Queens. We'd love to try and do something together. We're working on trying to do something together. We're right next door to each other. There's literally that much between the two arenas, if you like, two stadium. And we'd love to try and do something where the Queens fans get to come in and, maybe get a discount on something, or
discount on the first, just even on the first game. Check it, 20% off your first game, whatever.
And
get them in the door.
We quite fancy doing something with the players as well, because that's people want to see behind the scenes with the players.
Of course,
so do something with the Queens players and the hockey players together.
Even just hire a pub and it's fucking darts night. Queen. No, but that's it. Queen of the South versus Solway Sharks darts. And just have someone go around. The boys have a couple of beers. Someone will go around with a camera. It will be one-liners. The hockey boys taking a piss out the footballers. The footballers taking a piss, and it'll be fun and it'll be funny. And it's that's the stuff that I miss from the game. The nights like that. And if the fans actually got to see that, they'd be like, I get why these boys miss it when they stop, because that's the fun stuff.
100%. And if we can do that with them, brilliant. That's a great idea. I'm going to suggest that when I'm down on Sunday.
Yeah, so you're going to take that one.
I'm going to take that one. Yes.
I just got this week.
The South Darts Tournament sponsored by 4,000 and counting.
Hey, why not? It doesn't. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be something. It could be paintball. That might be a bit more competitive. I think their contract's probably worth a fucking few more quid than yours. So I don't think they'd be happy for their boys out in the woods getting battered by hockey players, because let's face it, there's only ever going to be one winner between footballers and hockey players when it comes to remote violence, and that's going to be the hockey boys. But a bit of darts, it's fun. It's a pub game. We all like a beer up in Scotland. That's something that. So that Ross's Instagram stories last year. I know you're going to in the town. Stop in here first. We have a bar. Are you going to be using that kind of promo nights before the town? Come in, have a few pints, watch the game, go down into the town after.
100%. One of the things we've done to upgrade the facility is we've now got draft lager. So
huge.
Yep, which is huge. So all those.
That's called pint tenants.
No.
What are you going to have on draft up there?
Coors and Madry.
Madry is one of my favourites.
Cold River cider.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Yeah,
so I talked to Craig briefly about Are they going to do anything? He wasn't in a position to say. I kind of put him on the spot a little bit, but I feel that you as an owner probably have more authority to go out on the limb and let us know what's happening. But talked about like match night entertainment. Obviously, you've just said that they've brought in draft lager. That's huge. And obviously, from looking at your professionalism, creativeness that's already happened, are we expected to see a scoreboard? Are we expected to see like the whole lights go down, the spotlights come on, the match night experience, that kind of vibe? What are we expecting from the Sharks? If you're going to be an away fan coming up, or if you're a home fan coming to every week?
All of the above, mate. So the plan is the plans are in, shall we say, for a hospitality suite to be built in a pre-existing area that's there. We're just waiting on those plans getting the final go-ahead. So that probably won't be ready for pre-season, but it might be ready for first game of the season, end of September. We'll just need to wait and see. And we were in with the lights and sound on Tuesday this week. So yeah, I got a wee shot on a mic as well. I was giving
it large Ali Cree style.
I caught Craig with bloody shoes and no socks again. I'm sick of seeing that guy with shoes and no socks. So I made a wee announcement in front of all the GB under 20s that Craig was walking with shoes and no socks.
Love that. I'm sure he took it in his stride.
He did. He took it in his stride like he does with everything, mate. Aye. So, mate, we want to try all sorts of things. You know, like I was saying earlier about the figure skating club. I was chatting to the guy there. They are. I maybe get this wrong. They're either British champions or world champions at something. I think it's synchronized.
Synchro. Yeah.
Mate, you want to see this? It is mesmerizing to watch. Yeah. There was 18 of them on the ice, and I walked past and I was like, oh my God, that is tremendous. So I spoke to them and said, look, why don't you guys come in and, you know, during one of the period breaks, just put on one of your 3-4 minute absolute big showstoppers for us, because, you know, once the ice is cut, there's not a lot to do, really, is there? So you want
it's good exposure. It's good exposure for them, and it's very good entertainment for the locals that are down watching, the away fans that are up watching. Yep. And I think you guys are going to have a good year there. I mean, what's we're talking short-term plans realistically, we're talking this year, but what's the long-term vision when it comes to Solway? And obviously you said that the league owners weren't interested in you being a one and done. You guys are not interested in being a one and done. What's the kind of 3-5 year plan for the Sharks?
There's a 3-5 year plan is to be sustainable, obviously.
Yeah.
As a business, you know, we need to assess things at the end of year one and see where we are, you know, money in, money out, etc. And then we need to grow the fan base. In an ideal world, we would increase the capacity slightly more.
Interesting.
I think we're anywhere between 1,000 and 1,200 maximum capacity from a fire regulation standpoint, to try and increase that a little bit, because a lot of that's standing as well. Not a lot of people know that you can stand and sit at our rink. There's quite a substantial standing area, which is quite good, and good views from it as well. So to try and increase the seating a wee bit would be good. And then it's a tough question to answer. Sorry, we want to, mate, it's sport. We want to win.
Yep.
We want to win. That's it. Yep. That's it.
That was the answer. That was the answer I was expecting.
We understand it's going to be hard, but ask any owner in the league, they're not in it to finish 7th.
No.
They're in it to win it, and we want to win it. And however long that takes, I'm going nowhere until we win, and even after that, I'm not going anywhere.
I think you guys, within a couple of years, could be well within a shot. I mean, the roster you got this year, you're not going to be easy to play against when you go up to Solway, and you're going to upset a few teams on the road as well, I think. But long term, when you look at it all comes down to how well do the boys enjoy it. Like, let's say Dunbar and the 2 imports and Mace, we'll use them because we've talked about them. And then they piss off. And then they tell other people, yo, that was fucking legit, boys. Like, that was a fun place to play. Grubby knows his shit. Everybody knows that anyway. We were looked after on and off the ice, this, that, and the other. That spreads across the league real quick. When it go to the negotiating table next May, Grubby's job's a million times easier than it was this year.
You hope.
Honestly, it will be, because boys want to play for good clubs that want to win, where you're looked after. That's pretty much it.
And we're looking after them, mate. Believe you me, we've sort of implemented a number of new things around the place that are purely for the players. You know, we're not going to treat them like, you know,
No, don't be prima donnas or anything.
Things and stuff like that, but they do
No.
need to be looked after. These guys are putting their neck on the line on a nightly basis. Some of them have got full-time jobs and they're training 3 times a week and then they're traveling and whatnot. You know, look after them, treat them well. Treat them well, they'll come back. Or if they don't come back, they'll tell, as you say, they'll tell somebody else, by the way, go up there. What a place, you know. It's a family, mate. It's a family. It's cheesy as it sounds. It's a big family.
It's not cheesy at all, and that's what we want. With the Clan, the Stars and the Flyers all having elite league teams, do you think you might see next year a few of these fans that don't have the pure rose tints on that the elite league's the best thing since sliced bread? Do you think they might come down and check out some games and maybe check out some of the local Scottish boys playing? Because I think they'll be missing a beat if they don't.
I think a lot of them are, mate, if I'm honest with you. Some of the messages we've had on email and on socials and whatnot from Clan fans, from a Fife fan,
Yeah, there you go.
They're going to come down and catch a couple of games. I think the Leeds game's a big one for Clan fans in particular because Matty Hayward's
there, yeah.
So a lot of them are going to come down for that, and they've been following us on social media, and they've been, you know, liking our posts and sharing our posts because of the connection with the Clan as well. So yeah, listen, mate, all welcome at the Shark Tank anytime.
A couple more questions for you before we let you go.
Anyways, mate.
Let's talk about the relationship with the Belfast Giants, because I saw a Clan fan this week fucking throwing his toys out the pram. Oh, take it, the relationship with the Clan's done. I'm sorry. If I'm a Brit, i.e. Mason, or BE, or whoever you want that's come through that, and I have an opportunity to be on a two-way, and it's either with Belfast or with the Clan, it's not even you don't have to sit and think about that. You don't. You go, I'm going to Belfast. So how is it having a relationship with arguably the Elite League's biggest club? Sorry, you orange lot that are watching this right now.
Right, okay. So the diplomatic, political answer is, I'm like it none. Mate, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Mace and Kel Beattie, with their 2 ways with Belfast. What an opportunity for them.
Brilliant opportunity.
What an opportunity, and we are right behind that. Right behind that. You know, we need to be realistic, and our supporters need to be realistic. We are in the National League. We are not the Belfast Giants. So if these guys want to aspire to play for the Belfast Giants, it's our duty to help them along that way. We have to. So the relationship between us and them is key. It's very key.
And Steve Thornton and Adam Keefe and the boys, not bad guys to be in communication with and nursing your hockey players along their journey, because that's 2 men that know the game, that know the game the right way,
yep,
and will give Brits a chance 100%, because they've been here for, well, Keith was over 10 years. Steve Thornton, God, I played with Stephen Bezos. Like, that was 20. Shit, that's like that was 20. Yeah, I know, that was 21 years ago. Shit, that's a long time ago. And he was a class act then, and obviously I get to see him at some events every now and again, or like fantastic hospitality. When myself, Bandy, went out on a 4,000 trip to Belfast, honestly, the hospitality they showed us, just the organisation as a whole, brand new, just brand new. Everything they do, the city's fantastic. So I was saying to Mason, I was like, "You ever been to Belfast before?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Woo!"
Good night out, isn't it?
Well, he's single and he's handsome as shit, so I'm sure he's going to be fine. Yeah, mate, he's gonna have a great time over there. The relationship is good, but obviously the standard of hockey, it is that little bit higher. So when your guys do get to go experience that, they come back down, they should be able to perform at an even better level against the guys down here. So it's a win-win across the board.
100%. It's a win. I think there's a few players last season, maybe even Jordan Boyce being one of them, that was on record as saying that going away and playing with the Steel Dogs and then coming back to the Clan, it's made him a better player. So it works both ways as well, you know.
Of course, you get your reps, right?
Getting reps, you're getting more ice time, you're becoming more of a man, effectively. you know, and then going back and playing back up in the Elite League. Johnny McBean, I think, said it as well. He felt that he was coming back as a better player. So, listen, mate, it's all about a development, really.
Yeah, let's see if he pulls off that Michigan in the Elite League, how many fingers he has left. I'm just,
good luck with that one.
To be fair, it's just, do you know what's real funny? Like when I was 15, when I was 16, when I was playing with Barry, we were doing that shit in Florida. And then it kind of just went off the radar for years. And then these new kids started doing it, and they think like they're the coolest thing since sliced bread, right? I asked Barry about a goal we scored in the game where they've done it in the NHL this year. I skate around the back of the net. He skates from the high slot, right through the high slot into the crease. I flick the puck over the back of the net, and Barry just goes, boom.
Brilliant.
They did it last year, and everyone was like losing their shit. I was like, we did this 20 years ago. It was and it's good. I like it. I like it, but also as an ex-tough guy, if you do that against me, you're gonna have a rough rest of the night.
Are we expecting Barry and Dunbar to be pulling that one off with Mason this year? Then is that what you're thinking?
Well, I think they probably could. Yeah, I don't know if Barry's got the legs anymore. He was a lot he was a lot faster back then. He was probably a lot faster and a few pounds lighter than he is now. Back in the day, but hey, honestly, people better not sleep on Barry.
Nope.
They better not sleep on him. I'm telling you that.
He's focused. He's in. He's right into this. He's right
from speaking to him. He's an excited boy. Let's talk about a couple of the other Scottish boys, because you can't have this club here now in the division they're in now with the new owners and all that, and not talk about the guys that have been there, built it, put it on their back, won the back-to-back national championship over a very good Streatham team both years. You had to make some tough decisions to let some go, but some guys stuck around, and they're going to play their part this year, and they're going to be a huge part, because obviously we talk about Dunbar, Peacock, Mason. You're going to talk about these guys when you look at your roster, but there's some guys that, again, don't sleep on them. There's some very good Scottish talent in that locker room.
100%. I think, and again, this is all, you know, although, you know, I end up on the podcast and stuff like that, but this is all Martin. You know, I had literally nothing to do with the majority of the signings, other than saying, yeah, go for it. So the guys who are away out on two ways that didn't necessarily make it into the squad this year, they'll be back.
That's a good thing as well, though.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
So boys going down to Kilmarnock on two ways and bits and pieces. That's good.
Yeah, and they'll be back, and they'll be knocking on the door because they'll be training with us as well. So Martin's a clever guy.
Their eyes in all the time, right?
Everybody on their toes. So yes, the nucleus of last year's team is still there. You know, some of the returning boys are still there. You know, Ross Murray's, etc. Your Callum Hepburns, your Scotty Henderson, and whatnot. But the ones who didn't make it back for whatever reason, that's not them done by any stretch of the imagination. They'll be back. They'll be back, as will a lot of you want to see the talent we have at under 16 level. It blow your mind.
Just nipping at the heels.
Oh yes, I mean, and some of them are bigger than you and I put together.
That's good news. We like that. What else is good is the fact that, I mean, from a club perspective, not that I'm saying tapping up as ever went on in UK ice hockey, but when you just happen to have a GB coach and you just happen to have GB camps and world champs and everything else out of your barn, and the guys, all you need is a GB 18 or 20s player to go up and win a tournament there. I love the rink in Lithuania more than any rink I've ever played, because I won a fucking gold medal for my country there. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. The rink was shite, but we won a gold medal there. If one of these young kids, they go up there and that'll be the fondest place in their heart if they win a tournament at home. And use a host in the 20s this year, right?
Yep.
The talent gets to see what it's like. They get to see what it's like when it's busy. The Sharks fans turn up to the games. They make a racket and they go, I could go and play here next year. That would be fun. I think you guys could use stuff like that to your advantage.
Well, why not? You've got to use the tools at your disposal, haven't you? So we've got the rink, we've got the championships coming, we've got Martin, we've got Craig, got us. you've got to use every tool at your disposal, haven't you? And we'll do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
The difference between signing for us and signing for another team in the national, and with the greatest of respects to all the other teams, and each owner will probably strangle me when they see me. If we can get a player coming to us because we've been able to tap them up, if you like, yeah, we'll take them. Thanks very much.
by the way, that's me like facetiously joking, saying tap up. It generally doesn't happen, but you're putting yourself in the shop window as a player and as an organization. Nothing illegal's going on. It's not football. It's not the big tapping up scandal of the 90s and the early 2000s. It's not that. When we say tap it up used to be back in the day Coventry weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the week before. What are your plans for next year? But then as soon as it was Coventry weekend, it was a fucking free for all. Like honestly, I've got a semi-final to play in an hour. Can you stop talking to me for a minute? But I think that it is business, and it is business. The older I get, and the deeper into this and other businesses and stuff that I'm part of, I see that. But I'm a winner. I want to win. I don't want to lose. And if I have to do whatever I have to do, well, everyone that ever watched me play knows that I will do whatever it takes to win. Whether it's put my body on my line, play with broken face, play with concussion, play with broken hands, whatever it is, stupid shit that probably wouldn't do now that I'm a bit older. Now that I'm a bit older, but back then that was what we had to do to win. And you were willing to do whatever it took to win. And for someone that's got to your stage in business, you have to be willing to make tough decisions. You have to be willing to take gambles and make smart decisions as well. And if you get opportunities that fall on your lap through these programs being there, obviously you've got to see the talent as well. So you might get to see a 15-year-old kid that nobody else in the country knows about yet. So in 2 years' time, you're like, boom, thank you very much. Yep. We'll have you. Let's ask you a couple of ones, not about the clan, but just about just general questions. If you're 15 and you're good enough, you're old enough.
Ooh, aye, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Are you, and we won't elaborate any more than yes or no, are you disappointed? Are you happy that the dogs remain? And were you disappointed with the way just the whole thing went down?
That's a tough one, mate. Obviously, yes, I'm happy that they remained and that they're in and that they're playing. How the whole thing went down, that's a story for another time. Yeah,
I'm just because there's stuff that went on, and I'm still yet to have my say on it. I can't seem to find the right time, and it's not now. But just for someone that's obviously you just come in, you just get accepted, and then 2 weeks later, it's just like you must have been like, "Have we done the right? What's just happened here?" Was it wild? Was it wild?
It was a complete and utter shit show.
Especially because you've just walked in. You've just walked in the door.
Just walked in. We're trying not to piss anybody off. It's like, right, okay, and there's a lot of stuff went on.
Yeah.
The thing is, and you'll know this, and everybody knows this, a lot of stuff went on that has not been made public and probably never will be made public. And it's very difficult for those that know what went on to give opinions on public forums like this.
Oh, it's so hard, mate. That's why I'm trying to wait it.
It's hard. It's hard. But do you know what? That's yesterday's news. Let's get going. They're in.
Next question.
Move on.
Next question. 3 imports, so the level went up. I've been crying for this since day 1 of the National League. Would you welcome a 4th?
Oh, I'm going to say no.
From a business perspective, i.e. financially, or from a Brit development point?
Purely from a Brit development point.
I would argue that when the EPL was 4 and 5 imports, that the best Brits, the good ones, we all developed way more in that time than we ever did in the 3 import EPL ever. Because guess what? We got to play with guys like John Dunbar. And if you have 4 of them, if you have 4 guys like John Dunbar on your team, you're going to get better than if you have 3 guys like John Dunbar on your team. It's just simple mathematics.
Where do you stop though? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Where do you stop?
4. 4.
You stop at 4 for me because logistically it's 2 team houses of 2.
Okay.
So, like, when you start looking at logistics, it's 2 team houses or 2, or you get a 4-bed and you chuck them all in the same house. If you start going 5s and 6s, you're gonna need a fucking mansion in Romford, which you're not gonna get to house the boys. You know, up in Sheffield, yeah, you probably get a real nice 4-bed for a decent price. Up in Solway, you get a real nice 4-bed for a decent price. In Bristol, in Basingstoke, a 4-bed down here, you're needing, I don't know, it's probably £2,000 a month now for rent.
Right. Wow. Okay.
So then if you've got a house, Liam Morris and Jay King and whoever is coming down from Scotland to play for you as well, 3 or 4 of those guys, and all of a sudden you need £8,000 a month on housing, and that's when it changes. But if it can stay at a sustainable, because I'm only up for it being 4 just because the hockey improves. Right. If the businesses start to become unsustainable, then I have zero interest in it. Keep it at 3.
So that has to be a massive consideration. You know, this is a tight business model, the National League, financially, for everyone concerned. So, the difference between 3 and 4, if it meant that the hockey was better, the development was better, and the finances remained the same or got better, then I'm okay with 3 to 4. But you know, I'm only in the door 5 minutes, and you've already got me adding another import into the league. So
sorry, mate. No, but I just want to kind of come away from the Sharks ones more and the league ones for the rest of the fans that are watching some of the stuff that we've talked about on here since the season's finished. One of the things we haven't got around to talking about since it's been announced on here, because obviously Mark's taken a little hiatus, and we haven't got into some of the decisions that have been made, but something I do welcome. They are changing the shit show that was the disciplinary panel last year that introduced a Department of Player Safety. How do you feel about that? I mean, that can only be a good thing if used and done correctly.
Yeah, it's like anything that's implemented, mate. If it's done properly and implemented properly and ran properly, then it's only a benefit. So any changes like that as the months and years go on, we will fully support and back if it's for the benefit of the players and the league. So yeah,
I think that's huge. Right, some of the ones that some of the away fans are going to want to know: are you going to be streaming your games?
Yes.
Perfect. We like that. Yes. Are you going to be doing anything like match night where, I don't know, you say you got 50 folk up from Bracknell, you're going to make sure they're well looked after and stuff, you know, like that's a trek.
Yeah, we'll make sure they're well looked after, and then we'll show them the back door into the back of a lorry and then away. Never to be seen ever.
Yeah, that's it. Kidnap, see you after. But it's good because that was something that I remember, like coming from Basingstoke up to Edinburgh as a kid, and there would be 8 fans that have jumped in a fucking car and they've drove from Basingstoke to Edinburgh on a Sunday night, 7 p.m. face off. But you remember then going in a bar and all the locals are like, "Let's get you a pint." Yeah, do you want some? Do you want some? Do you want some stovies? Do you want some whatever? And you were well looked after, and then it grows your club because everyone's like, "Well, guess what? We're in Solway again in 2 months. I'm going again."
Look, mate, see if a bus of 52 Bees fans come up to see us, or 2 buses of Leeds fans, or a car with 4 people in it come up. They're coming to spend their hard-earned money at our business. You're damn right we're going to look after them.
Love
they will be welcomed with open arms as long as they spend money.
Get off your wallet.
Exactly.
Right, last one for me. Is there anything that you've perhaps taken from another club or that you've given to another club in terms of, we had Todd Kelman on here and he talked about going up to fight, I think it was Fife one night. Todd had been doing the chuck a puck at the end of the first period in Cardiff. And then up in Fife, they're doing it at the end of the second. And he's like, we can sell tickets for another 50 minutes. But he was like, I took that and I was like, thank you very much. Going to implement that back into my business down in Cardiff. Here's something we're doing with a school program that might help you guys up here. Is there anything that you perhaps reached out to the National League owners, or they've maybe give you advice as the new kids on the block?
Yeah, so Steve Nell obviously was the first person I spoke to when this whole thing started, and he's been brilliant so far, and I've bounced a lot of ideas off him, and he's given me a lot of advice on how things have happened so far in the league. So I have to thank him. Aaron as well, when Aaron Nell was doing all the fixtures and whatnot, him and I spoke quite a lot, and a lot of this is new to us, remember, you know.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of questions at the start, and those guys were really helpful, if I'm honest with you. As far as ideas from them, I would probably, see when we were pricing the tickets and stuff like that, and pricing the own and loans and pricing this and that. The next thing, we looked at everyone else. We looked at everyone else's commercial brochure as well, and we kind of tried to place ourselves right in the middle, so that we weren't the dearest, but we weren't the cheapest either. The Chuck Pucks, again, the Solway currently do toss the tennis ball.
Okay, yeah.
But we want to change that to Chuck a Puck because we've got a beautiful big mascot, and we want people throwing foam pucks at it, obviously. So we will be doing Chuck a Puck. But listen, any rink we go to that's doing something better than we're doing it, we're going to take that idea and develop it and make that a better version for ourselves. So yeah, and I think any other club that does that with us, aye, of course. You want to know how did you guys do that? We'll tell them. It's no problem.
Just makes it, when we talk about imports added, better bricks coming, whatever, all of this develops the National League. It gives us a better product on the ice, gives us a more sustainable product off of the ice, and ultimately it gives us a league that hopefully is going to be around for years to come, and we're not pissing around with an EPL folding like we've seen before. Because if everyone's on the same page and everyone's pulling on the same rope, then we're going to ultimately get a better product. Everybody's streaming now. Everybody's getting involved in commercial. It's the media. You guys are up the game in the media, so other teams will have to up it. And that's exactly what we want, to get a really good second tier of British hockey again.
Yeah, 100%. We need to help each other as well. And listen, we're new. Obviously, it was May this year.
Wild. Wild, man. It's like 12 weeks ago.
It's crazy. If I nearly swore there, one of the supporters messaged me online saying he wanted me to donate money to charity every time I swore. So
I'm glad he didn't do it for me. I'd have been skint.
If Dave Cochrane's watching this, I've not swore much, if at all. So,
maybe twice. Maybe twice.
So that's £2.
Oh, did you say it was for charity?
He said he wanted me to donate a couple of pounds to charity if I swore.
Oh well, I've heard you swear at least 50 times.
I'm sure he'll be messaging me very soon, letting me know how much has chosen charity. But listen, we're new. May we bought this club, and all the other owners in the league. I know some of them get a bad rep. Occasionally, we get a bad rep from certain sides of the community and certain sides of hockey. It is what it is. They've been brilliant. I have to say, hand on heart, every single other owner out there has welcomed us with open arms, and they've been open book almost, if you like, with us as far as help and advice. We've had a number of Zoom calls together and a number of messages between us all, and we all want the same thing: a good, sustainable, professional, competitive National League. That's it.
What a way to wrap it up, because I think that's what we're going to have. John, this has been an absolute pleasure. I can't thank you enough for your time. Can't wait to get up the road. I'll hopefully be up in September there. I want to come and catch one of the first games. Where can I fly into? Can I fly? Well,
you fly to Glasgow, and then it's about an hour. And
I might as well drive by the time. For me, I might as well drive. I can probably, if I leave at midnight, I could be in Dumfries by 4:30 probably.
Right. Okay. I don't know what you're going to do at 4:30 in the morning, but there you go.
I'm going to wait outside a shop for a rolling slice. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. The first thing I do anytime I go to Scotland, a rolling square sausage. Can't get it down here, man. Yeah, I don't know, Iron Brew. Exactly. But see, now you get glass bottle Iron Brew everywhere. They got it in my local shop. It's mad. But now that I'm too fat to drink it. Right, John, thank you very much. Ladies and gents, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment on this video. Share it with all your people. I am going to apologize that it didn't go live. It still says it's live up in the corner right now, but this will be on YouTube. You can all watch it, share it about, and we will see you for another episode very, very soon. Peace. Mate, that was class.
Brilliant. I enjoyed that, mate.
One sec. Let me